This is my Pawsey report video. Before we just get right into the thick of things, my name is Tinula, and at the end of 2020, I graduated with a Bachelor of Science Honours in Mathematics and Statistics. Also have a second major in Computer Science. So this current project of mine was in collaboration with Curtin University and the Department of Computing and School of Molecular and Life Sciences. However, as the title of my project sort of indicates, the problem lies in the field of applied statistics and computing, and we're looking in the field of microplastic detection. A bit of an introduction to microplastic detection is microplastic is known as a sort of the silent killer of marine life and environments. They are plastics that are less than 5 millimeters in diameter. So at the moment, not a lot of research and papers are conducted into a lot about microplastics as itself. There isn't a formulated technique to detect microplastics that is automated or at all semi-automated. It's very like a human touch and human look. So Mark Hackett from the School of Molecular Life Sciences has been sitting on some microplastic data that his honours student 2 years ago was able to conduct and have some controlled experiments done through. And he brought this data to us in the School of Computing at Curtin University, and he hoped to get some results and come up with an analytical technique that he could sort of detect the microplastics from. So what we were proposing and had worked on in the last 2 months or so was to involve multivariate statistics and machine learning into this program. So a single sample of of the experiment sort of had a 44 millimeter diameter filter paper where there was different microplastic polymers in there. And then for the controlled sample that the honours student had done 2 years ago, there were two polymers present, polyethylene and polypropylene. So under the supervision of the honours student and this software called CytoSpec, they were able to convert. We can sort of convert this diameter 44 mm diameter filter paper into 512 spectrums across 853 wave numbers. So it becomes quite a large data set for us to deal with. And then each polymer, whether it's polyethylene, polypropylene, or different other polymers out there in terms of microplastics, would have this unique sort of spectrum across these wave numbers. And these spectrums are formed between the chemical bonds of each polymer. However, the biggest problem sort of with this research project is that each time we obtain, this sample of a filter paper, depending on different variables, whether they were exposed to too much sun or not too much sun, but the amount of sun it was exposed to, and different weather conditions or a whole lot of external conditions, this unique unique spectrum that the polymer has is going to slightly change. So we can't just have a pre-built library within everything. So then we aim to battle two of these issues in the data set. First is just reducing these 800 or so wave numbers that must be analyzed. So then we wanted to sort of differentiate, and then after making a data set into a lot smaller one, we want to differentiate between what was the filter paper spectrum and what wasn't. So doing that, we sort of again, it's a bit of a dimensionality reduction as well with both of them. So to battle our first issue, we attempted various different statistical techniques and all the different things, sparse and non-sparse PCA. We had a lot of feature selection methods involved as well for our classification. We eventually came to an automated technique where our function would do a third order differencing on the raw data and then train the random classifiers on a random classifier, which in turn gives us back a range of wavelengths where there are a consecutive number of wavelengths deemed as significant. Then we can rerun this trained classifier with those confirmed number of wavelengths and take forward as our data set to move on. Sort of conclude what we got up to in the last 2 or so months. We got to an automated method that does work well for the specific data set that we were handled to. It was a sort of a controlled polymer data set. However, nearing the end of the project, we did receive new data from Mark, which contain which actually contain more than 2 polymers, and it's not controlled. It's not a controlled test, but rather an environmental sample. So we didn't know exactly all the polymers that weren't there, and running classifiers was a bit more of a struggle than just having the 2 known polymers. So there is a lot of work still to be done working with environmental samples, but the main positive that we did take out of it was this feature selection and dimensionality reduction. We were able to provide a software for that. So yes, we need to become more accustomed to environmental conditions, but reducing the data set is still a main problem that we were able to battle and get through.